Hello, ladies, gentlemen, all. Long time no see, I guess, for this Rise of Flight career. All the same, I welcome you back once again for a tour of the Eastern Front with dear old Vikram. Now, as far as Vikram is concerned, it is still that seemingly endless summer of 1917, and the Galician fields are watered only by the blood and sweat of the young men dying upon them. As the workers' revolution gains traction in the East, morale and discipline is deteriorating rapidly all along the front, with scattered reports coming in that groups of soldiers in isolated positions have murdered or deposed their officers and set up committees for their units. The Austrian counteroffensive, exhausted and possibly ill-advised from the very start, has been called off. Russia, they say, is killing itself off, slowly but surely, and there is no need to waste valuable equipment, fuel, food, and Austrian lives. The dual kingdom of Austria-Hungary, however, isn't really all that much better off. Vikram reads each letter with a heavy heart. Starvation in Vienna. Riots. Only last week, cousin Conrad was badly injured in a scuffle with gendarmes as they forcibly requisitioned his grain for the army. Grain, Vikram realized, that he, or men like him, were eating through every day, sitting idle in their trenches. How different war was, he mused, from the campaigns of his grandfather, the elan and grandeur of charging horses. Oh, perhaps not. However much a cavalry sabre would glitter, held aloft on parade, they too were spattered with blood bar day long, buried in the trembling chests of poor men. Here in 1917, only the air remained a battlefield of some lingering honor. But there was little glory to it. The glory was in the flight itself, the mastery of wind and sky, machine and man together looking down upon the world but being free of it. Fighting seemed only to sully that notion. The modern age had arrived with the gift of flight, and within moments man had turned that gift, that ultimate freedom, into yet another horrid battlefield. It was time for another patrol. Right, and while we're in the air, part of the reason it's been so long is because I've had some, I suppose we could call them health issues for the past few months that have made editing videos a little harder than usual, finding time for it. It's not really an excuse for my absence, but it's also, as they say, what it is. On the plus side, however, we've managed to put together more co-op career videos, and Kayla and I seem to have found a time slot for recording them that works much more consistently than before. In fact, I'm going to record one of those later tonight. And I hope you've enjoyed those at least. But yes, I hope to be able to return to Vikram with some semblance of consistency now. This is a very short mission, but I thought we'd start out rather slowly. Get the year off without too much hassle. I don't quite feel at home with this DVA. I'm not quite used to flying the flying Vikram missions. It's been a while, hasn't it? I think something like 4 months. I do apologize. Like I said, there's been some issues. But have no fear, the war doesn't seem to have gotten anywhere, and the Austrians are still about. I had a bit of a scare after I booted this up. I just reformatted my computer after installing some new stuff, and I thought that I'd forgotten to back up the Pat Wilson campaign. I thought all of the Vikram stuff was lost, and it very nearly was, except it turns out that I had reinstalled it in the actual ROF folder, so I had forgotten to back it up. But by mere luck, or perhaps clever planning, beforehand I had accidentally copied it. And it all worked out. No doubt all of you will have known and seen the announcement from the IL-2 crew recently. The Pacific was cancelled a little while back, and in return we are getting the Battle of Bodenplatte, which is of course sort of the last ditch ground attack mission really by the Luftwaffe, the closing stage of the Ardennes offensive. But no matter with the history of the thing, what matters is what planes we get to fly. And I'm very pleased to see both the P-38 Lightning, which is one of my favorite aircraft, probably the only favorite aircraft I have that is of American make, and also the Messerschmitt 262, the Schwalbe. So if I butchered the pronunciation there. Now, I'm not really a jet person, but I have dreamed for a very long time to see something like a Schwalbe modeled to IL-2's level of detail. Let's see while our flight lead bounces around beneath us. So I'm very excited anyway about getting to fly the 262. Hold please. Perhaps an enemy has been spotted. Yes. 2 contacts, 3 contacts, 4, 5 contacts. 12 o'clock. Those... wow, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 contacts. 2 of them are coming straight for us, and I will assume them to be hostile. The lower ones do look a lot more like German planes. These ones are definitely coming in with the intent to kill. Look like 17s, I think. Yeah. Let's get a first burst into this one. Whoa! Something is not right with my rudder pedals. Nearly a collision there, and there. Right, let's see, let's go for the high one. Jab. Well, you can clearly tell that I'm not really all up to snuff on the shooting here, but I think something's off with my rudder pedal sensitivity, because I give it a teensy little bit of input and it starts swinging wildly left to right, like a Mr. Pop Locket after a particularly wet night, the pub. I'm gonna help out this chap over here. Let's try to deal with the high targets first before you start giving away your energy advantage freely. Well, of course, he immediately bleeds off all his energy. But with some luck, he's target fixated enough that we will... Good grief. There's some hits into him. Finally. I don't really know where the rest of the squadron went off to. That's typical. As soon as you stop looking at them, they disappear. Oh, that was... I really do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Terrible aim, terrible aim. I feel like I'm hunting FE2Bs in the E1 again. Really embarrassing. Well, there he goes in flames. Poor bastard. I'm sorry, man. Well, what I should have done when the fight started is I should have looked for a landmark beneath the dogfight somewhere, something to orient myself by. There is one target, although with albatrosses versus Newports, I really would hope. My friend is going to do. I don't trust you. I think that's it. Yeah. Don't go for the head-ons, man. Because now we've lost them. Although I no wait, hang on. Are these two Newports? All on their lonesome, eh? The Russians really do like putting up birds, even though they've lost the ground war. Of course, that's something that the Russians can do much better than me. So he's bled off all his speed. I followed him for a little bit too long, but I was expecting his friend to come along. He didn't. He's heading for the airfield. Well, in that case, let's deal with this bugger. No, don't crash! Bastard. I can't readily outturn Newport 17 on the deck. What I can do is rather handily outperform him. He'll only play ball for a few moments. No good hits. Dead, no. But I doubt he will just... Yep, this engine is out. I don't know if I wanna... Do I wanna shoot him? He's right next to his airfield. He could make it back. The plane's destroyed. The war is almost over. Godspeed. I hope you make it back. Very well, as I was saying, as sort of an alternative to the Pacific Theatre, we are getting Battle of Bodenplatte, but we are also getting a tank sim, which I can't remember the name of, but that's cool. Co-op tank sims, that's a-okay with me. Hopefully, you know, revisiting the tanks and the damage model might have some carry-on effects over to IL-2. Currently, you know, if you go tank hunting with bombs or with anti-tank cannons, it's there's room for improvement, I'd say. But anyway, most importantly, and yes, I know you've all heard it before, but here it is again, straight from the veritable horse's mouth. I'm not the horse, neither metaphorically nor physically, but you get the idea. Rise of Flight. We're getting Rise of Flight. A Rise of Flight remake, or shall we say a remaster? I don't know. Probably closer to a remake. They're remaking Rise of Flight, the plane set, along with a map of France in the IL-2 engine. Now, granted, they're just starting out small. They're calling it Volume 1, which I hope means that they will feel compelled to expand upon it in the near future. But even so, getting a bunch of planes, a new map, and there's the other plane. Looks like a new port. And fairly soon, I mean not anytime really soon, but yeah, fairly soon, they're subcontracting a lot of the transfer work, that's definitely not an Albatross, from so that the main crew will keep focus on IL-2, and then they'll implement the flight models, I guess. Not that there's anything wrong with Rise of Flight, mind you, I'll keep flying this for a very long time to come, but I wouldn't say no either. Especially not, and this is, ironically perhaps, the thing I'm looking forward to the most about moving Rise of Flight to the L2 engine. Proper tracking of destroyed ground targets. Right now, especially in multiplayer, but even in single player, playing as a bomber is really not all that fun. The game is clearly made to cater to the fighter pilot. And there's, you know, you don't really get points for destroyed buildings. You don't really get proper points for like soft targets. It's not really tracked very well. The quote-unquote damage model for ground targets is incredibly simple. Yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement to make that more fun and more rewarding. Let me just finish this bastard off. Yeah, his engine is down. Oh no. Yep, there he goes. That's actually 2 planes on fire in one short mission. The fire went out at least. Maybe he... Oh god, maybe he survived the fires only to die in a horrible crash a couple of seconds later. Anyway, we should head directly southwest from here. We've lost our squadron, mind you, but... Right, so improved tracking of ground targets. That's what I'm looking forward to. You guys know me, I really do like moving mud. Bombers, ground attackers, dive bombers. Anything with 2 or more engines is a lovely thing, even if it's a heavy fighter. In fact, especially if it's a heavy fighter. God, I love those things. And heavy armament, big booms. Self-professed fan of big booms, really. So while I will lament the loss of the Pacific Theatre, we're losing that for now, it's on hold. And instead we're getting not 1, not 2, but 3. 3 very exciting additions. Let's see, there's the city to my left. We don't know where I'm going, southwest. Airfield should actually be just here on my right, somewhere. There it is. 3 fantastic products. Yes, as I come in for landing here, I'd like to just touch on the one little bit of disappointment that still lingers in my mind. The plane sets. The plane sets chosen for both Bodenplatte and Rise of Flight, or Flying Circus as it's called, Flying Circus Volume 1, is really, really fighter heavy. And for Bodenplatte, that is, you know, it's cancelled out to some extent by the addition of a non-flyable B-25, I think. And the fact that you can, of course, mission makers can still allow you to fly all the existing bombers. You can still fly the Peschke and the Heinkel and whatnot. But it's still a little bit saddening to see that they didn't bring in any, you know, proper bombers, dedicated bombers. It's excusable. I mean, there is this is very much a thing that I believe they want to sell as much of as possible. It's always the case, of course, but they need this to work out well because they're taking a lot of risks with Flying Circus and whatnot. Catering to the fighter crowd is a better way to go about it. That's why we're getting all of these really iconic planes as well, I think. The P-51, which holds absolutely no interest to me, but I know it's a really, really popular plane. The Americans will love it. Again, I am not one of them, but they will love it. And for the Luftfans, there's the... really can't get any better than the Dora and the Schwalbe, the 262. But yeah, I understand it, especially as this is a point in history where they, you know, bombers, aside from these really heavy strategic bombers, tactical bombers were sort of losing importance in favors of really potent ground attack aircraft like the Typhoon and the Thunderbolts and all of those. But for Rise of Flight, for Flying Circus, it's late war fighters, and that's all well and good. I mean, I'll take any World War I fighter, really, any World War I plane, but there's no bombers at all. Some of them can carry bombs, that's true, like the SC-5 and the Dolphin and whatnot, but they're not bombers. Then I would want to see like a DFW or a Halberstadt 2, You know, the Breguet, such planes. I didn't actually check the wind coming in. I hope Vikram doesn't die from stalling out. Oh well, here we go. Should be fine. And flare it. Like a glove. Oh, actually, that was a pretty solid bounce. I didn't need to do that. Let's see if we can see this into this hangar, maybe. But it's a volume 1, and again, it has to sell well to finance further installments. I'm sure we'll see the bonus in the seaplanes soon enough. After all, though, it probably makes no sense for them to port what we have before they start making new planes. Anyway, really exciting news. I'm very glad to be back. I hope you don't mind the rather talky episode. I hope you don't mind the rather short episode. I do know that you probably mind the rather larger weight, but... yep, sorry, okay, bye.